Taiwan, a country recognized not just for its beauty, resilience and industry, but also for its cultural diversity. Within its heritage is one art form that proudly stands out as among its oldest. This is the story of歌仔opera, its journey from the streets to the stage, and its dynamic evolution from folk art to cultural treasure. Over the last century, this remarkable form has survived against all odds. The opera's chameleon-like ability to adapt to change has enabled it to stand the test of time, to truly become a voice of the people. Although strongly influenced by Chinese opera,歌仔opera has its own unique origins in Taiwan. Here, along the eastern coast, lies Yilan County, widely believed to be the home of the opera. More than a century ago, most residents of Yilan County were immigrants from China's Jiangzhou province. It is said that in between work, they would spontaneously perform unrehearsed songs from their homes. These traditional ballads soon became a popular leisure activity that sowed the seeds of歌仔opera. Eventually, simple dance movements were added, creating the foundation for skits involving 2 to 3 singers. In this early form, the opera was called 落地扫, which loosely translates as sweeping the ground. It's one of the traditional styles still practiced in Yilan County today. In those early years, the opera remained a simple affair. Performed by all-male groups, the stories drew their inspiration from everyday life. Songs would feature passages of humorous dialogue and slapstick comedy. Performed by the opera's colorful and spontaneous characters, their tales reflected the joys and hardships of rural life. Eventually, this simple musical form made its journey from the streets to the stage. The opera established itself when performers began forming歌仔parades during temple fairs. Wherever they stopped, they would set up a plain stage and perform simple folk melodies, attracting large audiences. In time,歌仔opera began to grow in stature. Its repertoire expanded creatively and eventually included complete plays performed on outdoor stages. During this period, touring Beijing and Fuzhou opera troupes from the mainland also influenced歌仔opera.歌仔opera's more established cousins inspired developments in gestures, drumming, backdrops, and most of all, in music. Like the migrants themselves that first came to Taiwan, Getai opera found itself constantly adapting and drawing inspiration from other forms of entertainment in order to survive. And it was this resilience that would prove useful for the opera in Taiwan's darkest hours. From the late 19th century till the end of World War II, the Japanese made themselves the colonial masters of Taiwan. The opera once again found good reason to adapt. The weeping melody became a popular style. These expressions of grief, mainly performed by a sorrowful female character, struck a poignant chord with the Taiwanese during those turbulent times. The years under Japanese rule also saw women infiltrating the male-dominated art form. Soon, Taiwanese women found a reliable ally in Getai opera after centuries of prejudice under different regimes. At the same time, the presence of women and the roles they performed in Getai opera created a stronger relationship with female audiences. Despite constant threats of a ban and attempts to co-opt the opera by forcing women performers to don the kimono, Getai opera survived. When the Japanese occupation came to an end, the opera found a new lease of life in Taiwan. The years ahead would provide even greater challenges and opportunities for this art form. After years under Japanese rule, post-colonial Taiwan burst forth in a flurry of creative activity. And within the space of just a few years,